You press record. Continue.
Hey everyone, it's Marceline. I am here for another midnight session with the one, the only theater
Theater.
actor, and musician, rock star, and a friend of mine from back in the day, Jamie Wilson. What's up,
Hey,
Jamie?
hey, Marcy, how are you? Thanks for having
Good.
me in the midnight sessions.
I
This is
know.
actually the perfect time because if you got me in the morning, I'd be like a mess.
I know. I've noticed you're online. You're awake at night. Is that something pandemic induced or just
Yeah,
late
well, you
nights
know
at
what?
theater?
I stay up until 4 a.m. I still wake up at 8
Oh
or
wow.
9. I'm a big believer in afternoon naps though. So that's where I make up for it. But I have the ability to uncannily take these 5-minute power naps
Yeah,
and I'm fine,
I know.
you know?
And you know what's weird is in the pandemic, it's like time doesn't exist. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what time you go to bed or what time you wake up.
Yeah,
So
because you don't have to get up early in the morning to go to work or to do anything. Really, lunch is flexible. Lunch doesn't happen. The lunch
right.
will happen whenever you want it to happen.
You
You
know
know
what?
what I
You're
mean?
right. Like one thing that changed is like showers. You know how you used to either shower at night, shower in the morning. Now it's whenever you feel like it,
It's optional. Yes, it's
and
optional. Do you want to
optional.
shower? Do you not want to shower? Do I want to change my t-shirt today? You know?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so when last we met, back in the 90s, now you were singing for the Blue Rats, and of course, you were involved in theater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What have you done since?
Well, I just continued. In between there, it's funny because when you're a musician or an actor in Manila, you actually need other jobs to pay for your art
Of course.
because it doesn't pay much. So
Mhm.
I did a lot of things. I was a sound engineer in the advertising world for an audio post production house. I would do voiceovers. Eventually, I got a corporate job in the BPO industry, training people for all the major BPO outfits here in Manila. I do a lot of things, but primarily the two constants in my life have always been theater and rock and roll. I always like saying that I put a little theater in my rock and roll and I put a little rock and roll in my theater.
That's
And
true. That's
without those two in my life, I freak out. They're like, I'll need therapy because those two things are my therapy.
My goodness. Speaking of rock and roll and theater, I think you've entered the zeitgeist because of Huling El Bimbo, which showed around the world. And yeah, that's the most recent time I saw you perform after so long. I'm like, look at Jamie all grown up and so evil.
I
So tell
know
us
that.
about that. First of all, when that was, you performed that last year, right?
Uh, we started 2 years ago, so we
Okay.
had a repeat. We started in 2018, had a repeat in 2019. We done more than 100 shows, and then when the pandemic hit, they asked us if we were okay for streaming to stream the show for charity, and we're like, yeah, go. And I didn't realize what would happen after they streamed it. I was answering. I got over 1,000 hate mails, like hate messages, because everybody hated my character. And I mean, that's a good job, right? Good
Yeah,
job.
good job.
But at the same time, I started replying to these messages, and I said, oh, if I have to reply to one, I'm going to have to reply to all of them. And I
Yeah.
actually used it in a sense because, I mean, I played a corrupt politician in El Bimbo, a narco politician who, put people to death and stuff like that. So I used it as sort of an advocacy to make sure that whoever I was messaging back, thanking them for watching the show. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you hated me because that was the point.
Mhm.
But remember, come next election, stop voting people like me into power. So I used it as sort of an advocacy to reach out and tell them, look, this is a trope. It should not be a trope. It should not be the usual standard thing. People could relate to my character immediately because there's so many examples in reality. And
Oh,
it shouldn't
yes.
be the case. We deserve better. So make better choices, come next elections.
Wow. So did you also feel that's kind of did it hit home because your dad was an actor and politician as well?
That was my tribute to my father if he had turned out evil. The
Right,
clutch,
right,
the clutch bag I was using in Ang Huling El Bimbo, because we were deciding when we were creating the character. In the beginning, in the first script, I was just the ROTC commander.
right. Okay.
The politician did not exist. So our
Oh,
director Dexter Santos said, "You know what, Jamie, you're here. Let's use you as the bad guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. How?" And we improved it. We wrote it together along with Ding Dong Nevonario, who is the playwright who wrote the book. And he said, "Jamie, we need to have a silhouette of you that will be different, a visual device. So when you come in the ROTC scene, you're carrying a clipboard. So
right.
what could be your device?" And I said, "Clutch bag. It's perfect, right? I mean, classic Filipino politician has a clutch bag." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to have the crew get the clutch bag for you." And I'm like, "Nope, I have my dad's clutch bag, and it's going to be perfect for it." And so that was my tribute to my father, because he ended his political career as a counselor as well, with the main difference that he wasn't evil. He was actually quite
Of
beloved in the
course. He
body.
was beloved. Yes.
Yeah. And it was funny because I fought tooth and nail to be in that production because I just had to. I mean, members of the Racerheads were my friends. I love their music.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of doing another play when there were auditions. So as soon as I found out that there were going to be auditions, I messaged my director. I got to be in this play. Whatever. I said, whatever. I'll sell programs, but I just have to be involved in this play
Right.
because it's rock and roll and it's theater.
Yeah.
So that's a dream come true for me because I've always wanted to do something like that. Something that came close was when I did Rock of Ages.
Uh-huh.
In I think we started 2012. I think a jukebox musical with all these glam rock
Wow. Yes, yes, yes.
songs. But this is closer to home. It's the Eraserheads. It's localized. You're playing
Wait a
people in
minute,
your neighborhood.
backtrack. Jamie Wilson had to audition. What?
Of
Don't you
course,
know
I
that?
always, this is the one thing, right? So when I grew up in theater, and it
Yes.
came to a point where people were giving me lead roles,
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing any better and being the shit that I am, I took it for granted.
Mm.
Until I became very difficult to work with. I was late, I was unprepared, and basically nobody would touch me with a 10-foot pole. Not even my sister, who actually owned a theater company,
Yes.
because I was that difficult. And after that, during that period, I realized, these growing up moments, right? I realized that I realized that I can't not have this in my life.
Mm.
So if I'm going to go back, I need to change the way I work, the way I think, the way I, do this basically. And I had to fight my way back from production to chorus to supporting roles to lead roles. And I auditioned, and I actually insist on auditioning each time, because that's
Mm.
just, there shouldn't be, it's either there's one rule for all or no rules at all.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. So give me a chance to show you what I've got. And basically, if I'm not right for the role, then that's cool. At least I tried out.
Right.
But don't give things to me, because I firmly believe in working my way to getting the role. And that just makes it better, because when you actually get the role, when you get cast,
Yeah.
you just went through the entire process with everybody else. And that really unites you as an ensemble,
Nice.
as an ensemble.
Have you done any movies?
I did one movie back in the day for Cinemalaya, for the
Mm-hmm.
second cinema, or the first, I think, the first
Okay.
Cinemalaya festival. But movies aren't my thing. I'm getting into it now, but from the perspective of a filmmaker. Now
Oh,
I'm
gotcha. Not
learning
as
a
a
new,
performer. Mm-hmm.
yeah, not as a performer. I'm getting into it from a point of a visual storyteller, because it's just something to do now. I've always been interested in it. I have ideas for scripts, but I had no idea how to start. So I started taking lectures with Mike Sandejas, and basically to free up the mystery of visual storytelling for me, and the whole aspect of that I don't have to be the subject. And it's
Yes.
fantastic. It's what I see, not to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's quite an interesting thing. I started directing for theater and for concerts, and that's a different animal as well. But film, as an actor, the process of film is crazy for me. Like,
Mm.
I was just in a discussion with people that they would actually get their scripts, like film and television, they would get their scripts on the day of, and they would like read it, give 5 minutes for you to read it and memorize it, and then you go on. And that's like, I have profound respect for film and television actors if they can actually manage to do that, because I
Yeah.
would go crazy.
Right.
You know,
Like
I
the
would go
preparation
nuts.
is different, and then there's the
Yeah.
waiting as well, because you.
Well, there's not much preparation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. But like
If you're,
in film and TV, it's out of sequence, and you don't have
yeah,
the energy
yeah.
of the
You don't
theater.
have a linear journey from
Yeah.
point A to point B like in theater. And it's funny because in theater there's no take two, take three. So
Yeah.
once you start, you do everything you can in your power to be prepared for when you start, when the curtain goes up. And when the curtain goes down, you're done. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have to be the same character tomorrow because we're shooting a different scene, but it's not in sequence. So
Yeah.
that just messes with my brain.
Well, okay. How do you deal with this though when you're performing, especially like a successful show, and you have to perform that 100 times the same? How do you stave
It's
off, I don't know, boredom with a role or
it's never quite the same. Every show is somewhat different because the audience is different. The combination of people might be different. The energy is certainly different. But you just try to do the best you can. That's where your passion for doing this comes in. That's where I've never reached a point where waiting in the wings, waiting to go on, and telling myself, "Why the hell am I here? I'd rather
wow.
be at home sleeping." And if I ever felt that way, then I should stop doing it because then that's unfair to everybody else who's giving 1,000%. That's
Yeah.
unfair to the craft itself. Because really, I mean, if you want to be somewhere else, and that's where you should be, you shouldn't be in a creative endeavor if you'd rather be somewhere else. It's just like when you do gigs with bands or these big rock and roll groups that go on
Mhm.
tours,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, "Oh, the hazards of the tour life," and I'm like, "Shut up! You're playing arenas in different cities all over the world. You got to find something to motivate you.
Wow.
Whether it be like the big idea of the passion of your craft or something as simple as, hey, my cast member, she's cute,
Yeah.
or the food's great.
Yeah.
That I mean,
Afterwards,
then that's okay. Or hey, we can have beers afterwards, and some friends are coming to watch. Whatever gets you there to that point, I think. Whether it
that
be this big things
this
to the
is a
small
tip
things.
from Jamie Wilson. Pro tip: find anything to motivate you, no
Yeah,
matter.
anything, and anything works. And once you're in the zone, you're not, like when I'm in the zone, I'm not thinking as Jamie anymore. I'm thinking as my character.
Wow, that's
So I'm
awesome.
telling I'm telling his story, and then when the curtain falls, you're like, "Yay, I can be Jamie again." And then, oh no, I have Jamie's problems again. Oh crap! But it's the
Ooh,
best form of therapy, and it's the best form of escape as well.
because
And
you're
it's the
someone
same
else.
thing with, yeah, because you're someone else. But it's also like really good. Like playing with the band is also so much fun. And a lot of people have asked me, Jamie, you're doing so many things. You're directing this, you're ADing that, you're technical director for this show, you're appearing in a play, and you're after this play, like after El Bimbo shows, we end around 11:30.
Yeah.
I would rush from Resorts World to go to a gig for the Blue Rats and catch up and maybe catch and sing the second or third set.
Are you serious?
And
Oh my
it's such a privilege to be able to do this. And people ask me, why are you pushing yourself to that point? And I'm like, look, man, my primary job as an actor is to be somebody else,
God. Hmm.
right? Playing with my band gives me an opportunity to sing and be on stage as me. So where else are you going to get, those opportunities that you can actually do both in one night? You
Yeah.
go home, you're really exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion, and then you get up the next day and you do it all over again. I
Wow.
mean, that's a blessing right there. That's manna from heaven, man,
Look
to
at you,
be able to do
all
that.
positive. This is awesome. So, which brings us to the downer with the and well, I can't imagine for live performers like yourself what this whole situation in the world is doing. I mean, as a consumer, I think it sucks that I can't watch a band live. I
Yeah.
I watched Dr. Dog in February. That's the last thing I saw. I watched a teen theater company rehearse, and then, of course, their show was canceled. So, how does that feel, and how are you dealing with it? And what do you think could be the future, or when will we when we do get
when
to
we come back.
perform again. Yeah. What are you thinking? I've seen some really creative ways people are doing it. So
Well, for theater performers, we were the first industry to get locked down.
yes.
And most of us are freelancers, so most of us, once you're locked down, if you don't do a show, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And I had a whole year of shows, and some very exciting shows get canceled. And so initially, when you get over the panic of the pandemic, because like, oh my God, there's something invisible out there that can kill us,
Right.
right? And you realize that, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I mean, I reached a point where I only had 20 pesos in my wallet. And I was freaking out. I was, really depressed, down in the dumps. What am I going to do? But thankfully, quite a few people loved me. I got some help, which is great. And then projects started coming in. And I never gave up hope. And I just tried to motivate myself to get up every day and do something productive, whether it be finally clearing the storage area, fixing my bookshelf, you know what I mean? But it was very tough for performers. I mean, at least I had a show in January until early Feb.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got to finish the run
Oh, cool.
and close before the lockdown.
Oh my
So I
God.
had closure with that role. I have friends who were canceled right before opening night. So can you imagine all that effort and you didn't even get to play in front of an audience? And I really felt for them because my heart was breaking for them because not only do you not have closure, you didn't even get to start,
Yeah.
after all that work. But somehow we have, theater's been dying for like 4,000 years,
So they told
right?
us.
As an industry. And if it's anything, if it's anything that theater actors are and theater people are, like even production people, we're resilient. We can adapt. And a lot of us have moved to streaming platforms, these creative endeavors that we're doing over the internet. There was actually a theater festival, the Virgin Lab Fest, they do every
Oh,
year,
cool.
that was conducted over the internet now with very creative ways of still putting on their plays, which was great because we shifted and we pivoted right away, and we're creative people.
That's
So
true.
instead of just waiting to see what happens with this pandemic, we got to keep busy or else we'll go crazy. And for the future, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm consulting for a few groups regarding safety and health protocols for live events. And some of the plans that they have are really, really amazing. Some live events have actually happened, but without the inclusion of an audience yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a streaming audience. It's an online audience, but the production is conducted as live. And
Mm.
that's a great way to start out. That's a good foot to start out on. Because right now, nobody has the money or the mindset to go out and buy a ticket to watch a show, no matter how much you want to.
Anyway,
That's
yeah,
just an
yeah.
unnecessary risk. But I think we have the best and brightest here in Manila and all over the world. People who are trying to shift and repurpose themselves to
Mm-hmm.
keep the spirit of theater alive until we can actually return to our venues, our spaces, and gather together to watch or to tell a story and watch the magic unfolding.
That's
You
true.
know,
I mean, I think
it'll get there. I think.
yeah, I think the beauty of the El Bimbo thing was, I was like, hey, it opened up to a worldwide audience
Yeah,
who wouldn't, have seen it at all. It
and
opened
that's
up to theater in Manila and the
mhm.
music of the Eraserhead. It's like, wow, what a moment. So, and what an
That's one of the
evil Jamie.
one that's one of the benefits of like this pandemic now, because everybody's realizing, okay, so we can work from home, we can
Yes.
collaborate from home, and not only do we need to collaborate with the usual suspects we have around the city, or the same people I work with in certain theater companies. I can reach out to my friends in New York and like, hey, you want to do a song? You want to do a
Yeah.
monologue? You want to do a scene? You want to do a reading? So we've been part of a lot of online readings.
Ooh, a
We get
reading.
scripts.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't stream it. It's just for us to get
Yes.
our
Yeah.
fix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And we were able to do a lot of readings that normally, of plays that would not normally have been considered productions, to mount here.
Oh, wow.
So that's great because now, like, look, there's no pressure. We
Right.
can we can do a reading. We can read the play. We have the stage managers reading the line, the stage directions, etc., etc. But I'm reading with somebody from New York. I'm reading with
Oh,
somebody
fun.
in California. We just have to manage our timelines because, like, okay, what time is it with you? One is having a beer or a scotch, and the other one's having coffee. You know
I
what I
know, I
mean?
know.
But that's a great way to get your fix, and also I think it also helped to solidify us as a community somehow.
Hmm.
Although we're pretty solid as a community, but having this pandemic happen to all of us was the great equalizer
Yes.
because it's happening to all of us. And so we had to adapt and repurpose ourselves together
Very
as a
cool.
community, which is great. I mean, you always gotta see the silver lining of these things, man. Or if not, I'll be like,
It is.
you know what I mean?
I know we'd be so sad. I'm
Yeah.
excited by some of the creative things I've seen for sure. Speaking of creative and reinvention, Jamie, you should write something. Dude,
Yeah.
the stories that you can tell, I want to see them.
We have I have a few well, actually more than a few, quite a few notebooks full of ideas.
Okay, cool.
And slowly I am attacking them. I'm just letting them breathe a little bit now, and myself as well, to see which one will come to life. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, there's always, yeah, I want to consolidate all the crazy stories of all the crazy adventures we had back in the day. Just, change the names, but we'll know who they are when we see
Yes.
them.
Oh my,
Right?
I actually wrote like a story because, in lockdown. And then so I gave it to some friends. They're like, who is this? And is this you? Like I go, what would make you think that?
Right? Plausible deniability.
Oh my God.
Disclaimer,
But it
no
is,
actual persons.
oh wow. Well, you'll have to help jog my memory. And I know reaching out to friends, I said, it makes me go back to certain times, certain
Yeah.
nights, and like trying to piece things together. Um,
And
yeah.
then it makes you think of all the other nights that you don't
That
remember.
you don't remember. Yeah.
You're like,
Uh-oh.
what else is out there?
Exactly. Or who knows
Or
that.
who knows? No, thank God that back in the day, like when we did all our kalokohan, there were no digital cameras or camera phones.
Yes.
So I know the exact people who have blackmail photos of me, and I'm
Wow.
on good terms with all of them.
Nice, nice. No, I was thinking about that. I said, imagine, because for one thing, for the performances, when you used to perform, and sometimes there would be impromptu performances live,
Yeah.
like you're sitting in Malate or whatever. And so I wish we had video of those
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Um, but on the other hand, I'm glad we didn't have social media. Jeez.
Yes. Exactly.
So in a way, we were freer because we didn't have those. I carried around the
Yeah.
camera, but my dad got
Yeah.
rid of
You
all my,
always had a camera with
my
you.
dad got rid of all my negatives. He sold our house and gone. So I have nothing. Just
Wow.
so that's why
Well, I'm grateful I have my journals. So every so
oh
often I go back to my journals to see what kind of person I was back then.
yes.
And sometimes I get very surprised and like, wow, hey, that's pretty good. Puta, I was brilliant pala
Yeah,
before.
you're deep.
Yeah, what happened to me? Shit, now I'm so immature. But
Wait,
I'm glad
so
that's a
you've been
record.
journaling ever since?
Yeah, yeah. I have. I live in a, like, you see my shelves. It's not all books behind me. Like that whole stack are journals that aren't even in storage. So it
Wow.
means those are journals that I have to pluck out and go through and see. I have this editing process.
Yeah.
This picking and choosing, and that always brings back a lot of memories.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I haven't stopped. That's your best friend. That's the record of my days. You know.
And you like doing it by hand, not and don't
Yes.
type it out. Okay.
Yes, I am a pen freak and a paper freak and a journal freak. I like doing it old school. Like the happiest place I'm in, if you bring me to an arts and crafts or a pen store, I'm like, hey! It's like going
Paper.
to it's like going to Amoeba Records, and you're like, oh, where do I start? You
Oh
know?
my gosh. You're so old school, Jamie. Were you born an
Yeah,
old
well,
soul?
I don't know. I think I'm actually aging in reverse. I actually took myself a lot more seriously back in the day. Now I don't have to. I'd rather not. It takes so much energy
Oh
to be
yeah.
so,
No, we were
like,
angsty kasi.
angsty and
Yeah.
intense, diba? And trying to be cool. Now, like, fuck that shit. Who has the time?
And I think we don't care what people think. That's
Yes, I think
the
that's the
major
thing.
thing you learn, kids.
I mean, I
um,
care about what certain people think. People who are important to me.
yes, the people
People
you
who will hold
respect.
me, yeah, the people who will hold me to a certain standard.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Of excellence, of integrity. That matters to me. But it doesn't mean I can't be a goofball on a daily basis. You know, which was
I know.
never even a thought in my head back in the day.
I know you are certainly goofier than I remember. Anyway,
anyway,
speaking
anyway,
of people you respect and such, are there people you consider as your mentors in acting and in music?
a lot,
Let's name drop.
a lot. Like for theater, there's always Zenaida Amador, Baby Barredo, Joy Barata, Freddie Santos, and Terry DeGarda. These are my first teachers
Wow.
who brought me to realizing, wow, there's so much magic in this place that I have to be in this place and join them and try to keep up with them and learn from them. There's Bart Gingona, there's Dodo Lim, there's Bobby Garcia. There's so many. I think everybody I've worked with ends up being a mentor to some degree
Hmm.
because I always learn something. And whether it's learning what to do or what not to do, the learning is valid.
Hmm.
So I've certainly learned from so many people in that sense. With music, it was, it's June Lupito because June was the first one to tell me, hey, you want to sing? Okay. Eddie Rocha actually. Eddie Rocha used to own Fire and Rain in
Hmm.
Pasay Road.
Wow.
And I was working in theater back then, and he got me drunk, and he basically said, "Oh, Jamie, I heard you can sing rock and roll. Oh, get up there." And Coco Jam was playing.
Wow.
And I said, okay, drink in hand. And I got up there, and Rolly Maligad from Coco Jam asked me, oh, what do you want to sing? And I'm like, anything by the Doors. I know all the Doors songs. And then
Wow.
that started it. Like, like the roof of the bar opened up. I saw the stars in the sky. The universe was shining down on me and saying, this is something else you should do, you know?
Nice.
And then eventually, yeah, from them, I met everybody in the music scene back in the day. And that's why theater and rock and roll have always been in my life, and they go hand in hand with each other because it's just two amazing ways to express yourself and to get out there, and primarily to have a shitload of fun, you know.
Yeah, getting paid to party.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it is.
so is there another creative outlet that you haven't tried but want to try?
I'm getting into film. Like this lecture series that I joined with Mike Sandejas now. It started out as a friendly lecture series, and then we realized, look, we have to have a showcase of some kind to apply these
Mhm.
things. So I have to write, shoot, edit, and put together my short film by the end of September. And again, I've been skirting around with it. Like today, I spent the whole day getting to know my camera, which is my iPhone,
Yes.
right? But then I don't even take selfies. So for me, it's alien to hold the phone as a camera.
Hmm.
And usually you're taking pictures of necessary things like a deposit slip
Yeah.
or, oh, I have to remember this
Yeah.
or measurements, you know what I mean? And I spent the day trying to getting to know my eye and getting to make my eye with my hand
Mm.
holding this object and getting to see what I can do with this object. I don't even take selfies. I rarely take selfies. So whenever I hold it, it's so cumbersome. So
Hmm.
it's like rehearsing for this. So that was an interesting day spent like, oh, look, I can play with lighting. Oh, look, I can play with angles. Oh, hey, this
Cool.
looks better than this. So it's an interesting way to spend my day because usually I'm the one performing and I realize I don't have to be the one performing.
Yeah.
So I can actually tell a story with just taking short videos or photos of objects around my house,
So it's like a new
you
way
know?
of telling a story. So is the lecture series open to others or?
Yeah, yeah. You can search out the Sandejas film lecture room. I'm not sure what it's called. Just Google,
Yeah.
search on Facebook the Sandejas film room. You know,
Wow. Cool. And just
and it's open to everybody. And he has this whole series of lectures from practical camera angles to like you know, screenwriting techniques, storytelling techniques, very practical to big ideas. So it's quite
Wow.
interesting. It's a good group of people too.
So do you
You know,
have like classes with the rest of the people?
yeah, it's all on Zoom.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
we have Zoom classes, and then there's a chat function, and then Mike, who he's a born teacher. He's a director for Tulad ng Dati for the Dawn, the
Okay.
Cinemalaya movie of the Dawn,
Yeah.
and so he's rock and roll. So he understands me. He's also my old classmate from San Agustin, so he really understands me. And I keep on telling him, if I was this interested in actual school, I would have graduated with better grades. I would have graduated, period. But I guess this is like how I apply myself with something I really want to learn. I didn't see the point of learning algebra or physics or
Yeah, yeah.
trigonometry. I knew what I wanted to be. I want to do rock and roll. I want to do theater. Why do I need physics? You know what I mean?
No, it's true. I mean, I think, you educate yourself wherever, and now we have the time and the
Yeah.
opportunity. And, really with the internet, you can learn whatever you want to learn. Well,
It just takes patience though.
yes,
Because this learning, like, we grew up in a generation without computers.
yes.
So our age group has to adapt to this technology as a tool instead of like going to a physical classroom,
Hmm.
hanging out with your classmates, bullshitting in the smoking area. You know what I mean? And picking up tips and the trade there. Now it's all like Zoom where only one person can talk at a time. I miss
Yeah,
the whole cacophony of voices.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Then we'll get back to that, I hope,
Yeah. It'll
someday.
it'll come back. I mean, the humankind has gone through more devastating things. So we'll get through this.
We
I
will, we
firmly
will.
believe in that.
Yeah. So is there a song that's getting you through right now?
I actually made a COVID playlist of
Ooh.
music that I really like.
Okay, sing the first line of each song or the chorus.
Wow.
Not all of them. Top three game.
Top three. Sagala Girl. Ikaw ang bituin. That's the new single from Jun Lupito's new album
Oh,
under
nice.
Offshore Music from Eli Buendia. Um, I have where's my playlist? Um, there's a song called Sigao by Nino Alejandro. Sigao Pinoy Sigao. It's a really good rocking song,
Wow.
and it's great. It motivates me. It's all about the Filipino condition. There are some songs I'm going to mention that I, you know, will not sing because really it sounds so much better. Like awit ko na naisulat dahil sa pandemic by Noy Volante. You know.
Oh, I've
Hindi,
seen
sorry.
people share that. Yeah.
Yeah, ang awit ko, see, I even got the title wrong. Ang haba kasi nyo eh. Ang awit ko na naisulat dahil sa kagandahan mo. But he wrote
Oh.
it during the pandemic. It's a nice, smooth groove. There's
Ooh.
also the company that collaborated with the Itchy Worms, Ibugi Mo Ako Baby. So sometimes in the mornings, I put this playlist on, those particular two songs on loop, and I'm
Yeah.
just dancing around my house doing like washing dishes, refilling the water,
Ooh.
folding
Cool, cool,
clothes,
cool.
and
I'm
it's
gonna check
great.
those out.
Yeah. And then one thing that came out which really mystified me because it really like provoked a lot of emotional responses from me. It's a song called Plunder My Heart,
Ooh.
which is by Eli Buendia and the Cheats. It's a collaboration under Offshore Music as well. And it reminded me of the 90s in a way. It reminded
Ooh.
me of like 1979 Smashing Pumpkins, I think.
Oh,
You
gotcha. Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know, it's something like that, but it's a little heavier, a little bit more melancholy, a little bit more. It's like you're driving down a freeway and you're trying to feel the wind in your hair,
Ooh.
but you don't want to roll the window down. You know what I mean? And you're
Yep.
coming from a heartbreak, or you're trying to pick yourself up from one. It's so many emotions
Wow.
from
I'm gonna
that
search that
song.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
from that song. So yeah, there's a good like the silence of the Itchy Worms is pretty good too. And their video is pretty cool because they were all on the Zoom call and they had duct tape over
Oh
their
man.
over
How
their
creative.
yeah, you know. So
Good.
there's a lot of music that's been getting me through, and it's nice to explore artists who are also your friends, and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm reaching out to some of them, and we're collaborating on. I'm going back to my spoken word stuff, which I digging through all my files. I'm like, oh my god, I have spoken word tracks.
You did, yes.
Yeah.
That
So
would be cool. Maybe you can
yeah,
do that as we segue into promoting your soon to be Friday or Thursday night show. You should do that. That would be fun.
yeah.
I'm thinking when I saw you do your live, I was thinking like, remember that Christian Slater movie? Was it Pump Up the Volume? Was it?
Yes, yes,
Like
yes.
that. That's what I
Yeah.
saw, like with you and the mic in the darkness and just speaking your thoughts.
Just speaking your thoughts. That's why I want to choose late night. So I'm thinking, the later the night, the better.
You got it. That'll be so fun. Okay, now we
Yeah.
segue into our, stream of consciousness questions. Just
Ooh,
tell
okay.
me. It's based on James Lipton, the actor studio. It's his
Yes,
questions. So it's the 10
yes.
questions.
I love him.
Jamie Wilson. What's your favorite word?
My favorite word is fuck. I mean, sorry, for being completely honest. There's so many ways you can say it.
Okay.
You can say like, fuck, that was great. Or what the fuck is that? Or, fuck me. Or, fuck that. You know what I mean? If you're going to localize it and translate it, sorry. I mean, I hope this is not PG or, safe for work,
It's
whatever.
at midnight. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. If you're going to translate it to the local, language, it would be tangina. Tangina that. Tangina hayop. Tangina ang galing.
Oh,
Tangina naman
true,
eh.
true, true. Could
Could
be
say
positive.
it's such a flexible. There's such flexible words, and I firmly believe in swear words. The simpler the better. I'm not a big brain that will use like multiple syllable huge meaning words. I mean, what's the matter? What's the point in saying words that people don't understand? I mean, your objective is to communicate, right? And you can communicate so much
With four
with that
letters.
with four letters.
Okay, what's your least favorite word? Pwedeng Tagalog.
My least favorite is po.
Po?
Po.
Like opo? Why?
Okay po, salamat po.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I have encountered too many people who use it in an aggressive way, who
Gotcha.
overuse it.
Mm.
So, yes po, ganito yan. Kasi hindi pwede po. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes an excuse and it becomes passive aggressive in a way because you are deliberately using the term that denotes respect
Mm.
to actually be used in something that may not necessarily be respectful.
Gotcha.
So the overuse of it really annoys the shit out of me.
Okay, what turns you on creatively?
Collaboration.
What what turns you off?
Uh, Selfishness. People who are just too selfish or too wrapped up in their own heads or themselves that they can't get their heads out of their own asses. Because, like if you're 10 people in the room, that's 10 creative minds. Not everything should come from you,
Yeah.
and not everything's all about you.
Uh-oh. You're in trouble, America. We have American viewers. You heard that. So
Hey, that's cool, man. Hey,
what is you answered this already. What's your favorite curse word? So your favorite word is a curse word. Okay, what sound or noise do you love?
the sound of bacon frying. That always puts me in a really good mood. Like when that frying sounds, of course, from Filipino. So like
Yeah.
almost everything is fried, right? But
Yeah.
there is a unique sound that bacon makes that gets me up out of the bed, wandering around the house, knowing that there's bacon. Makes me so happy.
Start off your day on a good note, right?
Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Whining.
Okay.
When people are whiny,
What
it's just
profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
now at my age,
Mhm.
I'm attempting to become a filmmaker. Haha. But I don't know.
How about before, like as a kid?
As a kid, I always thought I'd be joining the military.
What?
So polar opposite, right?
Discipline, Jamie?
I was full on in the track back when there were the US bases here in the
Mhm.
Philippines. I was going to join the United States Armed Forces because they had better gear. You know what I mean? And they had better training than the our local armed forces.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, it's the truth. But thank God I got myself out of that. I instead I got into sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I
Woo!
know. Can you imagine if you're in
Woohoo!
uniform?
I
Wow.
know, right?
Maybe there's that Jamie in an alternate universe.
Yes,
Okay,
there is.
what profession would you not like to do?
I would hate being either a bank teller or a person working the counter in an airport or a
Mm.
toll booth operator because it just makes me so very sad that you are at the toll booth all day, you are stuck there and you're just seeing people go. They have destinations, they have places to go to. Same thing when you're working the counter at an airport. You're
Mm.
facilitating all these people traveling, you're not going anywhere. Or if you're a bank teller, you're handling so much money and none of it is yours. It just makes me
Shout
so
out to the
sad.
bank tellers and
I know,
airport.
no props to you all
Yeah.
you guys who do that because I will go nuts. I will go nuts.
Okay. Our last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
He would probably say, "You're not on the list. Let me check it again." Right? But I would like to hear him say, "Hey, it's about time you got here. A lot of people are waiting for you."
Aw,
You
that's
know?
awesome, Jamie.
That would be nice. But he would probably say the first one.
No,
Let me check the list. I'm not sure if you're on it.
he'd say, "Whoa, you made it."
I know, yeah. He's probably like, "Oh man, I had my doubts, but boy, woo, you proved me wrong."
Oh my goodness. Okay, Jamie. Well, thanks. I think you should go to bed. It's late.
Are you kidding me? I'm up till 4. I'm gonna probably continue like watching Umbrella Academy.
There you go.
Or
You could do that too, right?
yeah,
Written by a musician. So, I mean,
yeah, fantastic, and the music choices are
the
fantastic.
music. Yeah,
I
watch it
love
through
the
the
music.
music. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you so much, Jamie. And I look forward
thank
to
you.
everything you're doing. And stay safe, be
You too.
kind,
You
enjoy
too.
your bacon. And I love you. Giving you some Korean hearts.
Sending you
Bye,
much love
Jamie.
over there too.
Bye. See you hopefully in the
See.
future in real life.
Yes, yes.
Bye. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
Peace
watching,
out.
guys. Midnight Sessions, rock and
See
roll.
ya.